So Grabo is a handheld power tool. It's essentially a revolutionary powered suction cup device. So if you are familiar with any of the suction cups on the market, there is a particular sector of the market that uses various suction cups that are manually operated. This is a fully electric one. 14-volt lithium-ion battery, easily rechargeable. And this little unit here only weighs about 5 pounds, but can hold up to 375 pounds, this one single unit.
So you could put it on my head, or you could still lift me easily.
Well, I haven't met you in person. Are you
I've got a flat spot on top of my head. It's you can't tell on camera.
All right. Well, you look relatively in shape, so I'm going to assume you're less than 375. So we'll try it out.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thanks for the compliment. Yeah. So this is a tool that's primarily not a retail at this point. It's not really a retail type thing. It's more of a professional's tool. Accessible, to only the professionals can access it at this point.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I guess you could get it online, right?
So listen, it's certainly accessible to the everyday or tool junkie or heavy home do-it-yourselfer. We'll certainly can provide that tool to them. But we are finding an early interest. It's only about a 2-year-old product, 2.5 years, let's call it. And we found a lot of early interest out of the stone and tile trades. Guys, especially nowadays, just dealing with a lot of guys gravitating towards large format tile. Mm-hmm. And with that large format tile is where the Grabo really comes into play. Now you can lay tile, install tile, handle that material. Obviously, it's extremely powerful. It allows you to set the tile without actually getting your fingers involved on the edges and things like that. So it saves your fingers, but it also makes the task a lot easier. Essentially, we put a tool in a hand where guys weren't even using one. A lot of stone fabrication shops, guys that cut stone, marble, granite, you name it. Very dusty environments, which the tool has proven to hold up very well in.
Now, what about things like sheetrock? Will it take a paperback product, or does it need to be something slicker?
So it actually can hang on up to a porous surface. There is a certain threshold where it's just overly porous. But it can hold on cardboard if it's a very stiff cardboard, particularly if there's a surface behind it. But it does work on drywall and wood, and we're actually seeing a lot of interest right now out of the woodworking industry. One of our key social media partners is actually specifically in the woodworking trade, and we're seeing a heck of a lot of interest come out of there most recently.
Well, you mentioned large format tile, and it seems like in the last few years, size there's no limit anymore to size. I mean, a large format tile when I was coming up in the industry started out at 12 by 12. Yeah, that was a big Adobe tile. It was at one time, and then they started, and then it was just up to maybe 24 by 24 inches. And that was a really large format tile. And of course now, I mean, I don't know of any limits to it. I see stuff that's 4 feet by 4 feet, big stuff.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend. And we are teamed up with a lot of distributors and retailers within the tile sector. And that's basically what I hear. Yeah. That's the trend that we're experiencing. And that's honestly where the Grabo comes into play quite a bit. And again, we're making people's jobs easier.
I would imagine setting countertops is a lot easier, and of course, we the same thing is large format with all this stuff. Countertops, mirrors that are huge, and now we're doing a lot of big commercial windows in houses, and some of them have to be built on site, so they'll have to actually put the frame on site and carry the glass into it. So, and it's heavy stuff. And so I imagine that this is a huge advantage to people.
Absolutely.
There's probably a big safety factor.
Yeah, and absolutely. That's a good point that you bring up. And actually, one quick plug, if you will. But we're actually getting ready to launch the Grabo Pro. It's going to launch out here in August. Holding capacity is the same as the original. This is the Grabo Pro that I have in my hand. You'll notice it has a digital gauge. If you look on our website, you'll see some of our models have actually a mechanical gauge. This digital gauge allows you to work. It basically has an auto sensor feature to it, a smart feature to the device where you turn on the device. I'm not going to turn it on now because it makes a little sound. I don't want to interrupt the call here, but when it reaches sufficient adhesion to a surface like glass, it'll actually cycle off the motor, the suction motor, but the Grabo will still hang on to that surface. If at any point in time it needs to, it'll click back on. So essentially it allows you to work more efficiently without the sound, even though, again, it's not really too loud, but it also allows you to work more efficiently as far as the battery goes. So we're finding that probably the glass industry, especially with some of their OSHA requirements, they're going to take to maybe this model because of that enhanced feature safety aspect to it.
And so when I'm using this Grabo and I've got a big piece of, say, granite that's 600 or 700 pounds, and I've got a couple of these things on there, a couple of guys holding it, and I'm one of the guys holding it, is there a safety feature so that the battery just doesn't die on me and it quit holding?
So again, I would love to be able to show it to you, actually. So when you actually adhere to a piece of granite, like I said, in the Pro unit, it's actually going to cycle off for you. But if I was holding a piece of granite right now, let's call it 200-300 pounds, I often show this in demonstrations. You could probably find it on quite easy. I pop the battery out right in front of people. Material doesn't go anywhere.
It holds it.
And they're wowed. That's it. So I like to show to them, exactly in real time how it works. And you won't lose suction. Won't last forever, but you have at least 45, 60 minutes conservatively, and you're going to hang on to that surface.
Oh, wow. That's
especially if it's non-porous, particularly. So that's it's really quite innovative. So if you did happen to miss the battery light indicator, you're not going anywhere. The material's not going to go anywhere.
Are there any chances when I use this that it sucks it too hard? Like, in other words, if it drew up on a piece of glass, could it crack the glass?
Yeah, good question, Alex. That is one we hear often. And the answer is yes, there certainly is. Like anything else, there are limitations to any device. But, essentially, it's not really meant to be used on a really thin piece of very lightweight glass, very fragile. We did put, if you see these 6 pads here on the bottom, at one point in time when we launched it, there was only 4. We found that adding 2 more actually allowed you to work with a lot thinner surfaces. So, again, it's done very well in not having to do that. But, yeah, if the surface is pliable, like maybe a piece of plastic, I wouldn't say it'd break it, but it does get a pretty strong adhesion on there. Could be a little difficult to release it. So you might want to be selective when you're dealing with a very thin piece of glass or plastic. But for the most part, any of the harder surfaces that our customers are working with, there's been no issue.
Do we expect to see a retail version of this coming out anytime, or is it just specifically for the trades?
So we're getting ready to launch the Pro. We have the existing model that will stay in the market for sale. There's some exciting developments happening down the pipeline. I don't want to dish too much out here.
Oh, come on, man. Nobody. Hey, we're not going to tell anybody. Just go ahead and.
Yeah, but there will be some interesting developments in the months ahead, and certainly by 2022 that will allow, hopefully, some of your more everyday workers, tool junkies, guys that to get in on various models of our tools. We have accessories coming out. We have a slender seal for kind of thinner pieces of glass or piping and things like that. So there's a lot that can actually pop on. Actually, let me pop this off to you while I have you.
Oh,
this is a patented foam rubber seal. A lot of this is how we make the magic happen. Right here. It's really easy to pop in and out. As you see, there's no glue. You pop it in and out by yourself. It stays in there nicely. And essentially,
it pulls the material up against that, I assume. So that, okay.
It does, yeah. So that's a hard rubber there with some pattern to it, some texture to it, and a rubber seal, and it basically sucks down. It allows you to mold. If you notice, it allows you to mold over textured surfaces. One of the things that's amazing about the Grabo is that it can hold on to rough concrete, tiles, even steel check plate. So it really can mold on the surface. And that's really one of the things that differentiates it from any other cup on the market, manual or otherwise. So it's pretty incredible, this little thing, what it can do. These are very inexpensive. They've held up very well in the market. We haven't really had a need to, too many of our customers haven't had a need to replace them, but we always have them available. They're quite inexpensive.
Well, I'm really impressed because I love new technology, and I love how it's getting integrated into the things that we used to. We have the old suction cups that the guys put on the glass, and they pump it up with their thumb, and I know they work fine. Those things work great, but I've had suction cups that didn't help. We've all had, anybody that's used suction cups for something has had a suction cup that just, it didn't hold. It can be holding something on your windshield or somewhere, and you're like, okay, there's got to be a better way.
Well, this is it. This is the better way, Alex.
Yeah. Well, I can see
it
this.
Truly is.
I can see this technology getting more, morphing into a much broader array of things, and so I really am very impressed with your innovation and your thought process going into this. So wow, what a great product.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're very excited about its potential. We're just scratching the surface with it. Like I said, we penetrated the stone and tile industry initially. Right off the bat, those guys we essentially put a tool in their hands where they didn't have one.
Right.
And we're finding a lot of other industries. A lot of our customers are actually creating accessories for the Grabo.
Very interesting.
Right here, you'll see 4 steel eyelets, and they've created different types of accessory. We actually have an accessory we're getting ready to launch for like tile and stone that's on the ground. Save your back a little bit, works nicely with it. It'll actually turn the buttons on and off.
An accessory that has an arm and 2 legs.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, get to work on that, man. And I want 10%.
Yeah.
Greg, thank you so much, and thanks for introducing your product to us, and we wish you really, really great success with it. And keep in touch with me when all these accessories start coming out. We'll run some more product reviews for you.
Exactly. Thanks so much. And the last thing I want to say is, anybody that might be watching this, we always are interested in teaming up with other distribution partners and retail outlets that have a place for the Grabo. So please reach out to me, Greg. You can find me easily, and Greg at grabo.com, or call our main line, and love to chat.
Okay, buddy. Thank you so much.
Alrighty.
Have a great day. It's good to see your product. Good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Take care.